Welcome to The Explainer. We hear about these massive corporate heists all the time, right? The laser beams, the giant bank vaults, some intricate syndicate of hackers just typing furiously away in dark rooms. But what if I told you that one of the most expensive mistakes in corporate history required absolutely none of that? How did a single, simple email wipe out $100 million? Today, we're diving into exactly how an absolute fortune just vanished without a single line of malicious code.
Let's set the scene here. I want you to imagine opening your inbox on a completely normal morning. You sit down at your desk, maybe you take a sip of your coffee, and there it is, an email. There is absolutely nothing unusual about it. It's got a super familiar company name right there in the sender line. Attached is a routine invoice, exactly like the dozens of other invoices you process every single week. It's just part of the job, right? So you click it. The payment gets approved, you check it right off your to-do list, and move on with your day.
But before anyone even realizes what's actually happening, $100 million is gone. Just poof, vanished. And honestly, the absolute wildest part about the whole shebang, this wasn't because of some complex computer virus. There were no hackers breaking through firewalls or cracking passwords in the dead of night. No way. This incredible fortune disappeared because of one email.
Now, you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, this must have been some highly vulnerable mom and pop shop, right? Someone without a dedicated IT department or tight security protocols. But if it wasn't a small business, who was it? Who on earth could possibly lose over $100 million to a single, simple email? Trust me, the answer is going to shock you.
It was Google. Yes, that Google. Literally one of the absolute smartest, most technologically advanced, and wealthiest companies on Earth. Just think about that for a second. If Google, a tech titan with practically endless security resources, could be fooled by something this blindingly simple, could anyone really be safe? Okay, let's dive into this because this is the unbelievable story of how one completely ordinary-looking email became one of the biggest business scams ever executed.
Section 1. Unlocking the unpickable door, hacking human trust. To really grasp how a massive tech giant was brought to its knees by an email, we need to dissect the mechanics of this heist and see how it bypassed the world's most sophisticated security.
To understand how it happened, just imagine your front door has the strongest lock in the world. Nobody can break it. It's totally impenetrable. But instead of trying to pick that lock, someone simply walks right up, knocks, and says, "Hi, it's me." And this brilliantly illustrates the method. Picking the lock, that's your complicated hacking and your viruses. Knocking on the door is what actually happened here. You recognize the voice on the other side, so you unlock and open the door yourself. The attacker never actually hacked Google's computers. As the saying goes, he hacked human trust. It's such a powerful and profound statement when you think about it. The attacker didn't need to breach their incredibly secure networks. He just needed to find a way to manipulate the employees who already held the keys to the kingdom. And that brings us to this massive system of vulnerability. Step 1, approve. Step 2, pay. Step 3, move on. Every single day, Google was buying equipment from suppliers all around the world, right? Employees received countless invoices asking for payment. And here's the catch. Most of them were completely legitimate. So they naturally fall into this dangerous trap of corporate routines. Approve, pay, move on. Routines are dangerous because when we repeat things endlessly, we simply stop paying close attention. We just go on autopilot. Section 2, the invisible fake supplier, creating the illusion. Let's introduce the mastermind behind this massive operation and look at the actual execution phase. How exactly do you convince a Google employee to just hand over millions? Let's define exactly who we're talking about here. His name is Evaldas Rimisauskas. He's a man who secretly created a fake company with almost the exact same identity as a real trusted supplier that Google already did business with. Seriously, think about the patience required for this. He didn't use secret software, he didn't use brute force hacking, he relied entirely on an incredibly well-crafted, believable lie. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the scammer's toolkit. Fake contracts, fake invoices, fake business documents. Rimisauskas didn't just fire off some random sloppy email. No, he built an incredibly convincing, professional-looking arsenal. When that invoice arrived, it looked exactly like all the others. The company name was familiar, the documents looked totally pristine. Everything seemed perfectly normal. There was just one tiny problem. The supplier wasn't real. But because it looked so convincing, the Google employees fully believed the invoices were genuine. So they approved the payments. Again, and again, and again. The automated loop of blind trust allowed the payments to just keep flowing seamlessly out the door. It's almost hypnotic when you think about it. The mundane, day-to-day routine completely masked the theft of millions and millions of dollars.
Section 3. The ultimate cybersecurity lesson: the catch and the aftermath. Eventually, of course, the illusion had to break. So let's look at the climax of this story and what happened when someone finally stopped the routine and realized something was deeply, deeply wrong. Let's walk through this timeline together. We start with a routine email, which seamlessly led to millions being transferred. By the time someone actually realized what was going on, over $100 million had already vanished, funneled right into bank accounts controlled by the scammer. But this sparked a massive international investigation. With no secret software to hide behind, investigators patiently followed the money through different bank accounts across several countries. The trail finally led them right back to Rimasovskis, resulting in his arrest. He pleaded guilty to fraud, and thankfully, much of that stolen money was eventually recovered. But the story definitely doesn't end with an arrest. The absolutely crucial point here is that the biggest lesson wasn't about computers at all. It was about people. The strongest cybersecurity on the planet literally cannot stop an employee from simply trusting the wrong email. Companies around the entire world suddenly woke up to a pretty terrifying truth. People are often way easier to fool than machines. So, how did the corporate world react to this massive vulnerability? Well, businesses everywhere added extra approval steps for payments. They specifically trained employees to verify invoices instead of just assuming they were real. They basically had to forcefully break that approve, pay, move on routine. They implemented these friction points because they learned a hard lesson about something criminals had known all along. Our human habits are the biggest security flaw of all. I really want to leave you with this incredibly important thought. The most dangerous scams don't look dangerous, they look ordinary. I want you to turn the mirror back on your own daily habits for a second. Think about the emails sitting quietly in your inbox right now. We are so heavily conditioned to look for dramatic threats, flashing warning signs, glaring errors. But the real danger, it's cloaked in the mundane. One email, one click, one payment. That is absolutely all it took to fool one of the biggest, smartest companies on Earth. And that's exactly why this explainer still matters so much today. Sometimes, the world's most expensive mistakes don't begin with explosions or dramatic headlines. They begin with a simple message sitting quietly in an inbox. So it really leaves you wondering, just how safe is your own digital routine?